Hello, good morning, good evening. I will be addressing the SNAP benefit formula reform to our Senator Padilla. I am a Master of Social Work student at Arizona State University. I'm also a California resident who work closely with children and families impacted by food insecurity, poverty, and uneven access to public benefits. Thank you for taking this time out to hear my concerns. Today, I'm reaching out to advocate for a specific and urgently needed reform in the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, a reform that would directly support thousands of low income families across California and millions across the country. My goal today is simple: to explain why SNAP benefits amounts must be calculated and recalculated using the low-cost food plan instead of the outdated thrifty food plan, and to ask you to take specific leadership steps to help make this reform a legislative priority. You have already been a strong advocate for hunger relief and fair federal benefit access for Californians, in which we thank you. This reform fits naturally within your existing commitments and offers a meaningful pathway to reducing food insecurity statewide. To give context, SNAP benefits are currently calculated using the Thrifty Food Plan, which was originally developed in the 1960s. We are far past that. Even after the 2021 update, it remains unrealistic in its assumptions. It assumes families have unlimited time and energy to prepare everything from scratch. Access to large grocery stores with lower prices, safe and stable kitchens, reliable transportation, and consistent storage for fresh foods, which is not always accurate. Those assumptions do not reflect the lives of most working parents and families, especially low-income families, single parents, people living in food deserts, or those working 2 or 3 jobs just to get by. Because the formula is unrealistic, it consistently underestimates the true cost of feeding a family. Research from the USDA shows that SNAP households are using up to 90% of their benefits within the first 3 weeks, which means that the last week, these families are scrambling. Families often report skipping meals, scratching low-cost processed foods, or relying on food pantries just to survive. According to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, even with the 2021 update, the Thrifty Food Plan still falls far below what these families actually need to be spent on groceries, especially in high-cost states like California. This is more than a budgeting issue. It has now become a social issue and human rights issue. When families cannot meet their basic nutritional needs, chronic food insecurity is associated with high rates of diabetes, heart disease, anxiety, depression, developmental delays in children. It affects school attendance, academic concentration, and family stability. They say that once a public policy fails to meet basic needs, it reinforces structural inequalities, particularly along the line of race, class, and geography. And in California, where the cost of living is extremely high, these inequalities become even more pronounced. That's why the need to reform is very, very clear. The low-cost food plan is not extravagant or unrealistic. It is really modest, an efficient diet plan, and reflects the actual price of groceries today, including fresh produce, lean proteins, culturally diverse foods. It accounts for real-world constraints like time, transportation cost, and actual market prices, making it fair and accurate. The reform deserves legislative attention immediately because it directly addresses one of the most preventable causes of poverty-related harm, which is hunger. When families cannot afford food, everything else becomes harder: health, school, work, emotional regulation, parenting, those things. It effectively denies, when SNAP formula is outdated in assumptions, it effectively denies the family the support it needs to exercise basic rights. This brings me to the action plan that I'm asking for today. First, I'm asking for you to co-sponsor and champion legislation that mandates replacing the Thrifty Food Plan with the low-cost food plan. This reform must come through Congress, and your support would be carried tremendous weight, especially representing a state as large and diverse as California. Secondly, I ask that you raise this reform during Senate Agriculture Committee discussions and any farm bill negotiations. Many SNAP reforms begin quietly in committee before ever reaching a vote. Third, I'm asking you to publicly highlight the limitations of Thrifty Food Plan and the benefits of switching to the low-cost food plan. A press statement, social media posts, a district newsletter can be much needed to reach this issue. Americans don't realize it's rooted in the outdated calculations. Lastly, I encourage you to meet with your hunger relief organizations, social workers, and families in California District to hear firsthand how SNAP current formula impacts their health and well-being. Senator Padilla, this reform is not about asking about the program over generous. It's about making it realistic. It's about aligning federal policy with grocery prices in 2025. Thank you.